now let's start. So welcome, Lazar. It's a pleasure to have you. In the old days we would meet on shows, and we would have eventually a beer or a coffee together. Nowadays we have Zoom meetings, so this is what's happening, and webinars. So it's still a great pleasure to have you and to talk today about how to drive external traffic to Amazon to grow your business, right? So, as you probably know, how we our webinars always start with a fun fact, right? And the fun fact of our guests. And so, Lazar, what's the fun fact about yourself to get people to know you a bit?
Oh my God, like I'm a huge PPC nerd. That's not really a fun fact. I'm a huge fan of everything numbers related, and I'm a huge fan of dogs. I have a Labrador that is like one of the craziest dogs ever. So yeah.
Okay, we'll go with the dog. It's not the funniest fact, but that's good. That's good. We're getting warm, so that's cool. No worries. So, Lazar, tell us a bit about yourself and your background, who you are, and what is Sellers Alley.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm in PPC for around 10 years now. I've been working for some huge companies in the past. I worked for one of the biggest e-commerces in Europe, one Danish company. After that, I was sales manager for one coffee-related company from UK, eight-figure seller on Amazon. And eventually I created Sellers Alley, our agency that is focused. We started with full focus on Amazon PPC. And as we started to grow, a lot of stuff happened. We became Trustio partners, and we do a lot of stuff for them. We signed some papers with TikTok, so we're now official partners with TikTok, and we provide a lot of like really good stuff regarding TikTok with a lot of insights and so on. So we started like it was like modest start, and you know me from that period, like when we were just starting, and now Sellers Alley is a team of 75 team members. Like, so it's pretty crazy. We just recently came to a new office. This is our fifth office. So that's one of the fun fun facts about me.
So
It's
the man with five offices. So okay, that
no,
that that's
we're moving from one to another, and like it's
let me
absolutely
let me
crazy.
dream. Let me dream. Yeah. So you've big growth, so which shows how successful the man is. So let's dive into our topic today, which is how to drive traffic from outside of Amazon to grow your business on Amazon. So maybe the first intro question would be, how would you define the difference between advertising on and off Amazon? How would you define those differences, and uh, why would you use one or the other?
Yeah, basically there is a huge difference between advertising on Amazon and other platforms, especially if you're an e-commerce seller. And let's say that you're fully focused on Amazon. And like when you're on Amazon, everybody that comes to Amazon is oriented to buying stuff. Like they have like purchase intention. And when you want to advertise on Facebook, let's say, or Google, or let's say TikTok, on the other hand, not everybody has a buying intention. So it's a different part of the funnel, basically. So when you start with Amazon, let's say that you're an Amazon seller and that's what you started with, and you want to expand further, there is a question: when do you want to start with bringing traffic from outside platforms? And like, is that the thing that should work for you? And like, is that something that can be valuable for you? So like a couple of years ago in 2017, Amazon started with something new, completely new, that never happened on Amazon before. It's called Amazon Attribution. And Amazon Attribution at that point was like in some alpha versions and nobody had it. And like a year after, in 2018, like with every other Amazon program is like that, like with DSP and so on. So uh, they introduced attribution. That's the first time when you're able to see what's going on with the traffic that is coming from external sources. Before of that, and like for a lot of European countries where you have Amazon, you have storefronts, and you have option to create custom URLs, basically UTMs that you place at the end of URL. For those that don't know, UTMs are parts of URL that you create on your own, and you copy paste them to the end of the link to specific page. So for example, you have product listing page that is like amazon.com/something something, like ASIN and so on. And after that, there is a question mark, UTM, and then you can write whatever you wish. There are a couple of ways how to do it, and like you can really deep dive when it comes to creating UTMs. Just like to let you know, I'm huge, like I love PPC, and I can talk for ages about it. So just let me know when I get off the track.
Yeah, no,
like...
I'll, and I wanted to, and my first stop already is, and my first question is, like, what would be your recommendation? What works best? Because you said, okay, we can decide. So the attribution, if I understand well, you put a link and you put just a UTM link, so you probably can follow wherever you're sending traffic to. What would be your recommendation? What works best, or what would be your tips on where to send the traffic? Like, would it be on a group page, on a brand store page, on a detail page? On what would you recommend, and why?
It depends on the campaign that you're creating. It depends on keywords that you're using, targeting methods, and so on. If you're using some remarketing and other stuff, like from remarketing from your website, and you want to send people to Amazon or so on. Like what we find that works pretty well is sending to product listings. If your storefront is really good, you can send people there as well. Like if you're creative and like you did a lot of good stuff, like one of the things that people usually don't do, but it's like working as a charm, like buyers want to see other people happy, and they want to see videos of reviews, like video reviews. Like you can create one page on your storefront that is dedicated to your like previous customers, like to share their experiences, because you're able to upload videos. Create one page with like 15 videos. That would be fun, and people would love to see that, and that helps when it comes to conversion rate. And it's pretty straightforward to make it.
And a question on that, so are you able on the system to take like video reviews from your video pages and embed them into the one of the brand store pages? Is that what you're saying?
You can upload them.
Okay, so you would have to download and upload them.
Yeah.
And I know Amazon is very sensitive on when you're like quoting or giving or saying, okay, I got 5 stars there, here. They tend to block that. They don't block when you upload videos from reviews, which are coming from Amazon.
It's working. Yeah, it's working. Like videos or pictures of happy customers, that's working because it's something that you didn't make up. And like, when it comes to terms of service, like none of those videos should have websites. Like Amazon doesn't like when you take their customer from Amazon and send them away. But on the other hand, they're really happy when you send customers to Amazon. So that's one of the things. And like one of the things that is interesting about attribution, like everybody's is going to be like, oh, attribution is not working. You know what? Why is not working? Because you're used to like last click conversion on Amazon, and you're used to like that click resulted in this sale, and like you can connect them. And when it comes to attribution, there is 14-day window. Like there is a time frame like when the sales come. And like, especially like for people that I mentioned, like when it comes to storefront, which is not real attribution, like creating UTMs on storefront, that way you don't have attribution, and it's only last click. So those campaigns that come from Google using UTMs from storefronts, if they don't result right away with sale, and they're probably not going to result right away with sale, you're going to end up with really bad return on ad spend. So nobody wants to do that. And on the other hand, if you have attribution set correctly, and you're fully aware of 14 day window, that's completely different thing.
So, and that it reminds me a bit about ACOS versus TACOS, right? It's like sometimes if you want to look at return on investment of the advertising itself, doesn't make a lot of sense. You have to look at the big picture. So maybe even the attribution is zero, but still you're growing your sales overall. Maybe you're still it's still successful, right? So it depends what you have, and there's a general takeoffs. And by the way, that's a question is like, for everyone, maybe everyone knows already, you've got ACOS, which is when you're looking sales versus what's generated sales. Oh, sorry, advertising versus what the ads have generated in terms of sales. TACOS is when you're looking the ads versus total sales. Does it make sense to have a TACOS including all advertising outside and inside Amazon? Is it something you're using yourself?
Well, it really depends. For us as an agency, I'm a data nerd and I love to see all of the numbers. For clients, we definitely offer that as an option. Like what we usually do when we do like screening of the account, first thing that we want to check is to see proportion of advertising sales versus organics. Like it should be around, like for healthy brand, it should be around 35% of all sales coming from PPC. If that number is way lower, it means that the brand is fully established and people know about the brand and they are buying products organically. And that product is fully visible organically. On the other hand, if that number is way above 35%, let's say 80%, that brand is probably absolutely new and is fully relying on advertising. So if you slow down the advertising, you're gonna crash all of the sales. When it comes to attribution on the side, like when it comes to attribution coming from whichever direction, from DSP, from Google Ads, from TikTok, from Facebook, and so on, you cannot really see sales on Amazon, in Amazon platform. In business reports, they're covered under overall sales. But like if you track overall sales and you know your PPC sales and you see the proportion there, and if you see that the number is increasing or decreasing, you would be able to understand if you're doing some good stuff for your account or not. And it also really depends of like what's the main goal of those campaigns there that you want to accomplish.
And I think that's a super insight. So for me, it's incredible. So the first thing is you can create a page on your brand store with videos of happy customers, and sending traffic to that will have a huge impact. Although you will not be able to track it very well with the attribution tool, but it still has it could have a great impact on how people are looking to your brand. So I think that's a first super branding exercise.
There is one question that I'm pretty sure that somebody's gonna ask is like, how am I gonna track certain keywords and their performance in some specific platform, like through attribution? So basically what you want to do there, you need to have single keyword campaigns. And that's the answer. So you need to have a campaign with one keyword and to create separate URL for each keyword. And that's it. That's the only way how you can do it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it for all of the keywords, but for some protected keywords, for some group of keywords that you want to focus on, like for ranking and so on, you should definitely create single keyword campaigns, but not for all of them, because it's going to be such a headache to manage all of them on all platforms. One of the negative things when it comes to sending traffic from the outside world to Amazon, and that's the other question. I'm sorry, I'm just answering the questions that I'm asking here.
I'll have a drink. You go on. You go on.
So people usually ask, like, can we create shopping campaigns on Google for Amazon? And can we do DPA campaigns on Facebook? And just to give you some valuable insight, like since we're partners with TikTok, we have some information from their end, and this is pretty exclusive thing. TikTok is rolling out DPA ads pretty soon. We can expect them in the next week or so. So have that in mind. The answer for all of that is no, because Amazon is not providing feed for being able to create shopping campaigns and to create DPA campaigns.
Can you explain what is a DP? What can you explain for the audience, DPA, maybe for
Mhm.
those who don't know?
Yeah, definitely. So when you go to Facebook, for example, and when you scroll and you see those ads that can be scrolled like to the left, like to be swiped to the left, and you see like different products. Basically, those campaigns are made in a manner that you have a feed with whichever amount of products you wish. Basically, you can add up to 1 million products. Um, and by the activity of the person, like algorithm decides which product to show. Like let's say that you're Amazon, and you, they by your tracking and like engagement on their website, they decide like which product to target you with. So
Yeah,
they're not going to show you some like stuff for dogs if you don't have a dog, and that kind of stuff.
makes sense. And you were saying about, so you were saying that TikTok will have so advertising on their own platform soon, or
um, uh, TikTok advertising is already available. They have two options when it comes to advertising. You have first option for the ads on TikTok is like when you open the application. First video that you have there, you cannot scroll it for the first 5 seconds. It's a paid ad, and that one is really expensive. In the US, it's going to cost you around 300K a day, and you're going to get
nice.
all of the impressions. And the other one is like when you scroll, like every fifth video should be an ad, depending on the amount of advertisers there. It depends like how often you're going to see the ad. So there are some other stuff that are rolling out. Like if somebody wants, like I know, like it's not a sales pitch, but like it's something that we're able to provide, and that is not available at this point to other sellers, is coupon ads, and ads that you can like almost like DPA. You can scroll, and like after second scroll, like on the second scroll on TikTok, you have like dedicated storefront for your products, and after that on the second scroll, you move from that dedicated store to your website. So it's like smooth transition from TikTok to the website. And what is really good with TikTok, they allow deep linking. For those that don't know what deep linking is, it's completely inside of terms of service. Deep linking means that you create custom URLs that send people to specific page on, let's say, Amazon. But first, that link is checking your phone or your computer if you have an app. So if you have an app, it's going to open the page in application rather than in browser. And like if you ask like why is that so important, it's because like in app you already have yourself logged in, you already have your credit card set in place. So conversion rate is like at least double the amount comparing to going to directly to browser. So it's way easier to make a purchase by sending people directly to the app.
Okay, interesting. And if we dig into a bit, TikTok is like for anybody who's spent a bit of time on TikTok, I personally feel I lose precious minutes of my personal time when I'm on TikTok, and so it's like it's not easy to understand. Like we can understand that a lot of people will be looking because it's really addictive because you start and you end up being spend 15 minutes and you say, what did I just do? And but it's like, why would brands use TikTok? In which cases would you use TikTok? Do you have like recommendations for what type of brands or what type of categories, or when would you want to use TikTok?
Yeah, definitely. So when we started working with TikTok guys, like we had a couple of calls with, like we work pretty closely with them now as well. So like for our clients, we have the TikTok dedicated team to help us with strategy and everything. So I always thought that TikTok is for kids, like 15, 16 years old, teenagers and so on. But the reality is kind of different now, and because they have 800 million users at this point, even more probably. So they're one of the most downloaded apps in the previous months. What is interesting about TikTok is that only 7.5 or 7.7% of TikTok users, while they're using TikTok on their phone, have their TVs turned on, which is insane number. Because like when you're on your phone, like there is a huge chance that something else is turned on around you, because like you have distraction, like you watch TV, you talk to somebody else. But when you use TikTok, you need to have your sound turned on and you're fully focused. So
So
like
it's a
with,
captive. It's kind of a captive platform in that
it's
sense.
so
It
crazy.
caps your
Yes.
team. Yeah. Okay.
So most of the users at this point are around 24 years old, and 65% of all TikTok users are women. So when it comes to top 5 brands that are important for TikTok users by analytics made by them, one of them is Amazon. So that's really important thing to know. And like I
And
think that.
is Amazon? Yeah, is Amazon
Mhm.
buying space on TikTok already? Are they advertising for their own products there?
To be honest, I didn't check. I can ask them and like I can return with that information. Like what's like fun thing to say, like one of the information like that I got from them. People usually open TikTok 12 times a day, like users. Nearly 50% of TikTok audience are mid to high income range people. And what is even more interesting is that like 28% of TikTok users are in high tier when it comes to salaries, and that's more than comparing to any other platform. And they spend 315. Like I'm reading the information just to let you know. So when it comes to TikTok, they're second biggest when it comes to time spent on the platform each day. And like there is one information that I find really important is that audience is not duplicated. So when it comes to Facebook, 44% of people on TikTok cannot be found on Facebook. 72% of TikTok users cannot be found on Twitter, for example. And around 30 something percent cannot be found on Instagram. So when you advertise on TikTok, basically you have a huge chance to reach out to people that you didn't reach before. You know, that's something that is super interesting. I have when it comes to um, what kind of products are going pretty well. So yeah, 27% of all of the products that are sold through TikTok are clothing. 22 are shoes. Headphones are 16. Shampoos and cosmetics are really big on TikTok as well because, as I said, like I don't want to sound chauvinist or something, but 65% of girls are the audience on TikTok, and like we must admit that boys are not that into cosmetics. On the other hand, so cosmetics are a big thing on TikTok. So if you're selling
That's yeah.
something like that, that's a really good thing to do.
That's quite amazing because I must admit that TikTok is like it's funny to see how I have teenagers and like Facebook they don't really understand why would you be on Facebook? It's like it's completely old fashioned. Twitter is like I don't understand it, so it's already Instagram and but probably TikTok and maybe their children will say what is Instagram? That's totally out of date. So it's very interesting to see that evolution. And before we open the floor to questions, maybe is do you have any success stories about brands which are investing a lot in Amazon, right, and which have used TikTok successfully to grow their Amazon business?
So
Not names specifically, but just
of course,
categories or general like.
when it comes to full case studies, you can everybody can check on sellersalley.com. Like we have like full list of case studies, so everybody can deep dive there. But overall, when it comes to TikTok, we don't have huge range because as an agency, we signed contract with them in January, so
Okay,
it's
so
still too
it's
early. We see some insane information like we have some clients that are making 6 figures a month through TikTok at this point. So and
you
they're
mean
Amazon sellers.
using
Yeah.
they are selling on their Amazon account and the traffic is coming from TikTok, you're saying?
Yeah, and that traffic is making 6 figures. That's something that we have confirmed that happened with us.
And how did they track
And it's
that?
car cosmetic.
Okay, interesting.
Which is interesting, yeah.
Okay, why not? And how does they get that? Are they using attribution for that, or is it just by is that
Yes, sir.
attribution? Okay, so and basically you were saying that on the attribution part, you would you need to be patient for 14 days, right, before you see real data. So typically, half a month later, what has happened with those links, right?
And also, like with Amazon, like whenever you create a campaign, it's not gonna start making a huge amount of sales on day one. It needs some time for algorithm to learn, so that campaign can get some traction and starts making sales properly.
Cool. We have already a question which pertains to that, and I know where it's coming from, and it's a great question. It's like, do you have an idea of the return on ad spend on those campaigns which are driving six-figure sales? It's like, is that if you compared it to other campaigns, specifically search campaigns on Google or on Amazon, what kind of ratio are we talking about if we're talking about the same brand, for example?
So when it comes to this specific brand, I would need to double check. Last time I checked, it was around 4.5 when it comes to return on ad spend. So
for those specific TikTok advertising.
Yeah, for the
and on its own, like let's say Amazon own search PPC. Do you have just to benchmark?
They have around 8 on DSP.
Okay.
So it's not as good as DSP, but on the other hand, like we need to have in mind that people on TikTok are not fully oriented to buying products. So
and it's much further, much higher in the funnel. So
yeah, it's much higher in the funnel. So I would consider that to be like pretty good success.
Probably the fact of getting people from TikTok is also, if you're using DSP also, they're probably retargeting those people which came from TikTok. So you've probably got a doubling effect of using both campaigns together. And one question to that specific brand, are they using other means like Google or Facebook at the same time?
Yeah,
is it a full...
they're using everything. Like they're a pretty big brand, and they use basically all of the channels from Facebook to Google Ads and Amazon PPC and DSP.
And if we dig into that specific example, because I think that's very interesting, is like, did you see a before and after in terms of like probably before they were doing only PPC on Amazon, or maybe PPC only outside of Amazon, and now they've got all that, and if I understand, they've got also DSP. Is there learning about like how success looks like, or
when you're fully established brand, you cannot expect that you're gonna triple your sales, but like it's like on Amazon. When Amazon rolls out a couple of new stuff, when it rolls out, like, I don't know, video ads or display retargeting ads and so on, like none of them are gonna make you a billionaire. But if you do all of them combined, like this one is going to be like... Sorry about that. Like, we're not magicians, but one is going to provide like 5% more in sales. One is going to provide 3%. The other one is going to be like 4% and so on. But like combined, they're going to end up with like 30% increase. So this is the same thing that is happening here by having like somebody that is selling a lot of stuff on Amazon PPC. They expanded to other platforms. They're using DSP. DSP is awesome for so many things, for remarketing. There is one targeting method that you can, on DSP, for example, target your competitor products. Like if somebody visited your competition, you can target them. That's insane. That's really insane. Like that's a really good thing to do. And on the other hand, like if you combine different stuff, and like if you have your website, you probably already have people that visited that website, so you can create like lookalike audiences, or you can do remarketing or retargeting and like send people to Amazon. Like depending, you should always scale. Like, is it better to send people to Amazon, or is it better to send them to your Shopify store? There are so many different stuff like that are affecting that answer. One of them is like what's more profitable for you. how well are you established off Amazon? Because like from our experience, we work with a lot of brands, and one of the things that we can see is basically that people that are really good at Amazon, they suck it out like on other platforms because they have mindset of people that are selling on Amazon. And like Google is completely different beast, for example. Like advertising on Google is completely different thing. It's more developed and there are so many other options, and people are having different mindset and they have different intentions. It's a different funnel. So yeah.
And if we double down on your question, and I'll come to a question in the chat in the Q&A section, but um, it's a very good in because we have a lot of people which are asking questions. Okay, should I send the traffic to Amazon and should I or to my own store, right? Should it be it Shopify or be it your own store you have on another platform? The question is. My assumption that usually the conversion rate will be much higher on Amazon. And although the margins are typically higher on your own website because you don't pay the 15% to Amazon, still the conversion rate and the size of the cake is much higher on Amazon, and it will boost so much your ranking that end of the day, you should be more like on the long term, it's more interesting to send it to Amazon. What would you say to that?
It's really hard question, and it really depends on your strategy. Like if 99% of your sales are coming from Amazon, maybe you should try to keep some of the eggs in a different basket, like maybe you should at least have like 10% of sales coming from something else, not only them. Like if you remember what happened literally a year ago when pandemic started and everything, when Amazon was clustered with everything, like everybody started thinking outside of FBA world, and everybody started like with FBM. Yeah, and it was so stressful for us as an agency as well. We gave everybody a month for free, and like I literally like I'm really happy to have here now because of that. Like it was so stressful, but like it on the other hand, it was so funny to see how Amazon sellers are insanely great people, like how adaptable they are, like how they can change easily. Like it hurts, but they're changing, like they moved from FBA to FBM like easily in like 2 weeks. They would come like, oh, I'm gonna like my business is not working.
Not all brands managed to do that, unfortunately, and some were left with but yeah. And the final question before we go to the other question is that like typically when you talk to a brand or a brand is thinking, okay, maybe I should use DSP, right? Or I should use off Amazon advertising. So typically you will reduce your return on ad spend because the search, the PPC campaigns on Amazon are very low in the funnel, and your return on ad spend is usually much higher, which showed on your example of TikTok. Like, what would you respond to the fact of the potential of growth versus the potential of reducing your return on ad spend?
When you launch a new product, you cannot expect really good ACoS. Like once every 10 times you get really good ACoS right away, but at the beginning it's like with physical stores. Like I usually like to talk like in that manner to clients and partners. Like, guys, imagine that you open like a physical store next door and you want to have everybody around you to know about the store. Like you need to invest in advertising. You're probably not going to go into green zone like to be profitable right away. It takes some time. And it's like this as well. Like by sending traffic from the outside into Amazon, you're investing in future sales as well. And one of the questions that I see is like, do you see an uplift in organic sales on Amazon account by sending external traffic? Yes. Not right away, but you're building your brand. After a month or two, you can definitely see the trend of changing the numbers. Like there are obviously different aspects. Like if your star rating changed, if the traction changed, or like so many different things are affecting your product. But overall, when you compare the sales without getting external traffic or getting external traffic, there is a difference after some time.
And like it's probably a bit of a stupid question, but that I told you, I said we would grill you. So it's like in terms of leverage, from your experience, what kind of what's the worst situation where okay, you get into bad or negative ROAS, or and your sales are not growing to like what's the kind of results you could get from lowest to highest? What have you seen? Like what the best to the worst kind of thing?
Well, if you don't know what you're doing, you can burn money like as much as you wish, literally. Uh, and on the other
No, but
hand,
put it that way. It's like what's some good or a benchmark of a reasonable result and a great result. What does a great result look like in terms of return on ad spend, growth, and things like that? Just to give an idea, a taste for people. Say, okay, if I start to invest a bit more into out of Amazon, Google, Facebook, TikTok, and also DSP, what kind of how once again what success looks like?
yeah, well, if you're used to Amazon, and let's say that like you want ACOS at around 25%, return on ad spend is more or less like reverse ACOS. So you need to have return on ad spend around 4 to get to 25%. And like, let's say that your margins are around that number. So, and let's say that that's the number that you aim for. It's probably going to take around 2 or 3 months to get there. But as I said, like depending on the channel, like for TikTok, creatives are the most important thing. And like, what's funny? Random videos with your phone, like, hey guys, I have this, like try this, are working the best. Like nothing super fancy. Like it's you shouldn't like take an excuse like I don't have money for professional video and something. Like just take the product, take the phone and record it, try it, and see what's gonna happen. And like address people with trying to solve the problem of theirs, and like not try to because it's different audience, you know. Those are young people and around, as I said, 24, 25 years old, and they don't you're not probably not the only one that is selling that product in the world, and like you need to explain to them like in a witty funny way, like if it's working. Like, you know what's good, like if you have brand registry, go to Amazon, check your brand analytics, see your audience there. If you have a Shopify store, go to Google Analytics and check who's your audience. Like when you check your reviews and go to Q&A, like you're probably going to, I'm pretty sure that everybody that is selling on Amazon already knows like what's the language that they should use when they speak to their customers. Like they should continue definitely using that language and adopt the specific platform, because TikTok is
Listen
not,
to the market.
yeah, TikTok is not like serious and like with bow tie and
Corporate.
everything. Yeah, it's not corporate. So yeah, you need to address users that way as well, like in a more familiar way to them.
Makes sense. Let's dive into the few questions. Tamara is waking up. So the first one is, in your external campaigns, how good are Google ads compared to Facebook ads and TikTok ads? So a benchmark a bit.
So when you want to start, let's say that you're starting with everything. So when it comes to Google ads, one of the important things, when it comes to broad modifier keywords, they're gone. You don't have them in Google anymore, and like that's really sad to know. Like I was a huge fan of them, and we used to use plus Amazon word inside of the keywords just to make sure that everybody's gonna end up like searching for them, because like you should start by using word Amazon inside of your keyword just to narrow down the search funnel on Google, because Google is huge and you can spend as much money as you wish there on advertising. So try narrow, and like if you see that is working, then broaden up like a bit and so on. And when you compare Google ads, Facebook and TikTok, like on Google, I really like using search campaigns, like regular search campaigns. If your ad copy is good and your targeting is good, like what's really good about all of the platforms there is like they have more advanced targeting methods than Amazon. You know, like On Google, you're able to fully target specific city or part of the city, like area in town, and so on. So if you're just starting, maybe targeting New York is not the best option. Like there are other places in the US where people can buy your product.
And so, would you say that if just a yes or no kind of thing, so Google Ads would work better, would be more efficient than Facebook or TikTok, which are high in the funnel? Would you agree with that?
It really
Depends on how broad you're going. Okay, yeah. But
yeah,
if you manage to make it less broad and start from a more sharper audience, then you would get better results. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, if you have information like on your website, on the other hand, like who's your audience and so on, and you can create like lookalike audience and send people to your Amazon store. Like you can create lookalike audiences on TikTok and on Facebook. Like Facebook and TikTok are more or less similar. If you're familiar with Facebook targeting and so on, TikTok is working more or less the same. Okay. Like, yeah. So if you know what you're doing on Facebook, you're probably going to know what you're doing on TikTok as well.
And on TikTok, is there like Facebook, you've got this campaign manager. Do you have the same thing on TikTok?
Yeah.
And it's open to any it's open. You don't have to have a specific access.
You don't need to have an agency to do it for you. You can do it on your own. Like obviously, I would prefer that everybody works with us, but like you can do it on your own. With us, you have a return on ad investment, like credits. Like for every 50,000, you get 15,000 back. For every 25, there are some different incentives that TikTok is giving us to give to clients. I need to double check everything. It's between 10 and 20% of your ad investment is going to be given as a credit to users.
That's a great deal. I'll dive into the questions. Is there an easy way to directly integrate deep links to Amazon? For example, in Facebook, where on both iOS and Android, the app starts automatically, and if it's not installed, it goes into the browser? Or do you need a system that is in between? That's a very specific question.
Yeah, that's super specific one. I need to check with colleague. I don't want to sound smart and like tell you something that is not true. I'm gonna.
You're smart, but not omniscient. That's all, and that's okay. That's okay, Lazar.
You know, if I'm the smartest guy in the company, we have a problem. So that's what I usually say to my colleagues. I'm gonna get back to you with the information about this one.
So we'll follow up in our email after the session. We'll answer to that question. Now we're getting into the grilling questions. What sources would what sources would you recommend for Amazon attribution other than TikTok?
Well, most definitely when it comes to attribution, I would go with Google and Facebook. But one really cool thing about Amazon attribution, it's not only for paid traffic, you can use it with any link. So if you have blog posts, let's say that you're selling coffee, and some blogs, like websites that are talking about coffee, about baristas and so on, and they write a blog post about your coffee. You can give them the link that they can use for on that blog post, and you are going to be able to track it. So that's a really good thing to know.
Great insight. Thanks. Another question: other than remarketing campaigns, have you found any other upper funnel audience that can work well on DSP, like in-market or third-party lifestyle? So this is a specific DSP question. And like, what are the best audience which works best, or the type of audience which is like in-market, third-party lifestyle? So what the type of audience? That's probably that's a difficult one, right?
Yeah, but that's the one that is like more about like what kind of products are you selling? Like it really depends what's the product. Like I agree with Tamara when it comes to advertising remarketing campaigns are working the best. Like those are like safe win, like easy win, like low hanging fruits. But like when it comes to others, like I would definitely try them, do A/B tests, because for some products, some of the campaign types and targeting methods are working, for some not.
Okay. which makes sense. We use Amazon Attribution Beta to measure external traffic. Unfortunately, not even Amazon support knows. That's surprising that Amazon support doesn't know anything. Oh, so sorry. Unfortunately, not even Amazon support knows if it also measures purchases made when we, vendor, do not have the buy box. Do you have experience with this?
That's a difficult one. I don't have an answer to this one, to be honest. I'm sorry, Mark. Like
Yeah,
whatever I tell you, like I can sound smart, but like the problem, like as you already know, Amazon is not giving answers. Like they're just rolling out stuff, and like it's about A/B testing and checking. And for this one, I cannot like safely guarantee that you can track sales if you don't have buy box.
yeah, I know. Typically, I know on the search part for vendors, normally they attribute sales only for when you have the buy box on sponsored products. On sponsored brands, I think it's a gray area. So probably I would assume that the attribution is giving the numbers whenever you have the buy box or you don't have the buy box. Probably you would have to compare your like a lost buy box rate versus the attribution sales which have been given to you and versus the search like PPC sales, and then you can smell if the sales are giving you the your with when you have the buy box or not. That would be my guess, but I don't think nobody in Amazon would take the risk of answering that.
Yeah,
Because another one is, how dangerous is it to have a mediator between your feed and Amazon? There are a lot of companies which are putting themselves in between, and is it possible to create shopping as such?
Uh, I think Tamara means like when it comes to Google Ads and to have shopping ads there, like you're not able to do it like straight, like directly to Amazon. But when it comes to mediators, I cannot guarantee for anybody that comes to the market and says like I can do something for you. Like try it, but like whatever they do, like I don't find it possible like and to be like precise and to make any sense, to be honest.
Yeah, I know that in some cases, bigger companies which are using like DMPs also, or they're aggregating different audiences from different DSPs, for example. So they're using in between tools, or like when you have to share first party audiences and third party audiences, they like Amazon doesn't want to share their data, they don't want to share their data, so they put someone in between to aggregate all the data. But that's when you have a very big when you have a very big campaigns. That's this from what I know. But when you
That's a
have
tricky one. It's almost like should you buy newsletter lists? Like my answer is no, but like people are doing it.
yeah. Another question is, do you know if there is a way to find the uplift in new to brand when you have external traffic running? Can't see it in Amazon attribution, can you? So
Uh,
do you have the new to brand information or from the Amazon attribution, or like are they able to uh check
yeah,
when
so that you can
external
see
traffic
if
to be
they're
new
new to
or
the
not?
brand. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't seen it. We couldn't find it yet, so that it's not
Okay,
an option so far.
for me it seems that Amazon attribution is very young still, right? And that probably they've launched it without having it completely finished, which they usually do on
Absolutely,
Amazon.
absolutely, yeah. Well, to be honest, like it's a huge advance from like not having it at all. If they're gonna have like an option so you can place a pixel on Amazon, that's never gonna happen. They're never gonna share the information with other platforms like Google or Facebook because
Yeah.
like apart from selling, for them the data and traffic is the highest resource, like the most valuable resource that they have. So they have like guarding stance and like they're slowly rolling out and they're like giving you an option to bring information from somewhere else to Amazon to to ask a question and they're going to answer, and that's it. They're never going to have like two-way street and like exchange information.
No.
There's never going to be an API that's going to work with. Like I was thinking about like connecting different APIs and like in the future, but like that's going to be like pretty crazy thing to have. Like that would be a really good thing to have, to be honest.
Yeah, but Amazon is not very eager to share information with with us on their own customers. So we've
Absolutely.
got a couple of minutes left, so we can take one or two questions. Here you go. Every day there are more TikTokers focused on showing advertising different products available on Amazon. Do you work with any? Haha. Since they use a very appealing review format video, what do you think the impact of these TikTokers could be compared to pure TikTok advertising in terms of driving purchase intention? So it's a bit like bloggers, right? Yeah. So what Antonio is talking about is like people, TikTokers themselves advertising for a product on Amazon.
There is something called Creator Marketplace on TikTok where you can log in and you can literally use TikTok analytics and filter out by niche category or whatever, and to see like which are the best influencers on TikTok for your product, and you can reach out to them. Like Amazon, sorry, TikTok is never taking any fee or percentage of anything from the deal that you make there with influencer. Basically, it's a really good way how to do it. Like as we work with Trustio, they invest in both ways, like in using both attribution, both advertising and influencers. Like I'm pretty sure that you can see all around it.
It reminds me when I started working, which is some years ago now, and when it was the beginning of YouTube and of bloggers, and it was a big thing of saying, "Oh, we'll send samples to bloggers, and they will do a review," and that was the first days of it. And now, like you get them also on TikTok, so it's a like a product ambassadors.
It's like early days of Instagram for TikTok. So it's like, you know, when you talk to somebody that is selling on Amazon for like 5 or more years, and like remember those days when we had so many sales and whatever we did, it made something. So when it comes to TikTok, now it's the best time to do it, because
early adopter, right?
Early adopters, not many competitors in the niche and so on. Like you can do a lot of stuff there at this point.
That's a great insight. And I think the question was maybe if you were to compare, like, do you have any insights about how efficient it is to have a like TikToker advocate your products versus advertising on TikTok, or maybe difficult to say?
I would definitely, like, it's a different thing. I would definitely do both. I would definitely do both. Because
it's serving different purposes, right? So
exactly. The first one is for branding, and like, well, you're probably going to make some sales. Like if you get Bella Poarch, you're probably going to get a lot of sales, but that's something that you're going to pay a lot on the other hand. So yeah.
Great. So I think we're almost over the hour. I told you, Lazar, we always get to an hour. So I think it was really an amazing session. I've learned a lot about TikTok myself, so I'll probably not open it. We have a last question. So that's the last minute question. At the beginning of the session, Lazar said that the attribution in the brand store with source tags only occurs with immediate purchase, but there is also an attribution of 14 days. Have I misunderstood you? I think it's about the thing of when you're sending it to the product page with the videos, that it probably will not show any sales.
No, the thing is, like when you use Amazon attribution, you have attribution window of 14 days. And on the other hand, if you're using storefront, and there is storefront analytics section, and in that section you have UTMs. And if you use those UTMs, they don't have attribution. That's the difference. Like, and that's not the real attribution.
It's on the first click, right? You said so.
No, attribution is like tracking everybody that clicked on the ad, and like if they can click on other stuff afterwards, but they're going to be attributed to that click.
Okay, and if you're going to a page which is not a product page, it will not know what to attribute it to, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, you know, when you go to Facebook, for example, and and you send traffic to your website, and you always see more purchases than you see on Google Analytics. And that's attribution. Like they sign some sales to themselves that didn't really happen there.
Okay. Makes sense. Last question is, can YouTube be used for Amazon marketing instead of TikTok?
Yes, sir. You can use YouTube easily.
Nicely said. It says 14 days attribution for source tags in the brand stores, in the brand store. Help.
When you go to brand store and there is like storefront analytics and you create UTM there, it's not like a real attribution. It's just like last click, and that's the main difference. So I don't know in which part of the brand store Mark is checking, but like if it's from attribution, then it is 14 days. But if it's like custom made specific campaign to the store, like custom URL, that's the last click.
Yeah, because the store doesn't generate sales. The page of the store doesn't generate sales, right? It's not a product page.
Yeah, so that return on ad spend on that is like terrible, but it's not realistic.
Okay, cool. I think we will close the questions. Lazar is available. Go on Sellers Alley. We'll give you his contact details on the follow-up email and with the recording. I want to say a great thank you, Lazar. Really was a lot of learnings. On our side, our next webinar will be in 2 weeks, and we will be talking about Amazon fees, and we will invite someone from Getida to see how to reduce your costs and increase your profits in your seller account. Thank you very much, Lazar. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye.